Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Cocktails and Curveballs. We're a man light today, but we got the two big dogs. We got Jim Pat today. And before we get going, of course, we like to shout out our military. Thank you to our first responders. Thank you guys for all the selfless acts that you do day in and day out. It allows us to be able to sit here and talk this shit. So thank you guys. We drinking anything today, boys?
Oh, you know me. I don't stray too far from the mountains.
Yeah,
I got a little bit of apricot hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
I
Very nice.
went through got my diploma on how to pronounce that fucking beer, so I'm pretty good at it now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take the boy out of the city or however the saying goes, but
The
I'm in
trailer?
down the trailer. I am in downtown Seattle in a gorgeous hotel. A hotel that
Nice.
somebody that looks like me should not be in.
That's awesome.
I I stick out like a sore thumb.
That's
And
sweet.
I'm still sitting here drinking Busch Lights.
Attaboy.
Perfect.
Gotta stay true, man. Stay true.
I've told you guys if I ever won $1 million, I would still drink Busch Light.
You just have a lot more like packed in your garage and shit.
I would have a lot more space for them, though.
That's right. That's right.
I have a
Um, do you want to get us going, Pat? You got
Yeah, you
you want
bet.
to talk about
So
pumps?
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on today. Thing that stuck out to me, and I don't have a dog in a fight. My St. Louis Cardinals have been eliminated since like week 3, and of course I'm being sarcastic, but they've been horrid all season long. But I am a baseball fan. I do enjoy watching the games. The pennant races are heating up. I love Bryce Harper. I love what he brings to the table. When he was up, I can't remember if they traded him or they signed him. Either way, I was hoping. I really wanted him on St. Louis. I think he's a fantastic ball player. That being said, he was involved in an altercation this week where he was at the plate. They're in the heat of a pennant race. They've been playing well, and he checked a swing. Now, you guys can correct me, or anybody that's watching our show, listening to our show, can correct me. But I feel like if it's a borderline check swing, um, 99% of the time they're going to give it to the hitter. I just feel, especially a Bryce Harper. Okay, if it's some kid that got called up from AAA, okay, fine. You want to call him up, ring him up on a borderline check swing, fine. But someone like Bryce Harper, he's got to get that call 99, if not 100% of the time. If it's a borderline check swing, right? This check swing, and anybody who hasn't seen this, I urge you to go Google it, and you'll understand my frustration. This check swing was not even close to anywhere near being confused with crossing the plane. Wasn't even close. And Angel Hernandez, yeah, that guy, worst ump in the big since Joe West retired. Angel Hernandez is down the third baseline. He's got the third base umpire duties, and he rings him up. Bryce Harper loses his mind, runs up there, gets ejected. The skipper gets ejected. They showed the replay. Even the announcers are blasting Angel Hernandez. And you know what's so infuriating from a baseball fan? This is my perspective. I feel like a lot of fans feel the same way. I want to know, are these when something so blatantly just piss poor, inept at your job, do these guys ever get called in on the carpet? Do they ever get scolded? I mean, that's ridiculous, man. You just
You know,
cost.
now they have like an account that you can follow on social media that tracks
Sure.
how bad these guys are night in
It's
and
like
night out.
AccuScore.
Yes, night in and
Yeah.
night out. Like
Yeah.
I know
And he's horrible.
the other night I saw a post from one of those accounts, and it was like a guy had called like 20 pitches wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot
So
for a
so
major league game.
right. So and they go on percentages, and they
Yeah.
typically only the big thing they track is home plate performances by the umpire, balls and strikes. And I think, and I might be off one or two, but I believe like the average for home plate umpires is like around 90, 91%. Now, it sounds like it's pretty high, but it's still not great when you consider there's like 140 pitches thrown, 150 pitches thrown. There's still a lot of calls that you're missing, right? But Angel
A lot.
Hernandez,
The guy's insane, right?
I have seen countless occasions where Angel Hernandez has been calling balls and strikes, and he's been down there around 83, 84. Now think about it. If there's only 100 pitches thrown in that baseball game, which never happens, okay?
Yeah.
But if there's only 100 pitches thrown, he's missing 17 calls. Are you fucking out of your mind?
Yeah.
How does this guy stay employed, man?
Well,
Is it one of those things where people are like, I don't want to get to that level. Like they'd be cool, you know what I mean? Like, guys, do you think that happens? Well, just with umpires, because that's like not a fun gig, right? For anybody. Somebody thinks you're an idiot.
It
Somebody
can be.
in the stands, no matter what, game in, game out, thinks that you're an idiot.
And it can't be a fun gig, and I wouldn't wish that shit upon anybody, really. But the fact is that these guys get paid a lot of money
Yeah.
to do
A lot
this.
of money.
Their
And if they
profession,
say they're
right.
not, they're full of shit. They're getting paid a lot of money to do this, to stand on the field with professional baseball players, for 2.5 hours, and you're getting paid how much? Yeah, okay. So maybe you do this 7 days a week. Maybe you're on a crew that you're doing this 7 days a week or whatever. But
Right.
it's 162 games.
Right.
This isn't day in, day out for 365 days a year.
And you're looking at, and Jim, you're looking on that point, you're looking at maybe 4 hours a night. They're not working an 8-hour job. They're not showing up at 8 and getting off at 5. These guys are showing up maybe an hour and a half before the game starts. Game lasts 2, sometimes 3 hours, whatever. They're there for 4 hours. They go home. Are you shitting me? Where do I sign up for that?
Okay,
Well,
so I have to be honest here. I just watched the Bryce Harper thing when you guys were
Right.
talking.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane.
Is it bananas? I mean, it's
That's
like,
insane.
I don't know.
That makes me like Bryce Harper way more.
You
Because
see,
he seems like a guy that, like, I don't, in my head, I think like when I think of like tough baseball players, it's like
yes,
the 70s, the 80s, and it's like these
Yes.
guys that you've seen, like it's their legendary highlights of guys like freaking out, and you're like, okay, like George Brett, okay, you're a psycho.
Yeah.
Like
Then he
he's
dies.
that's burned in my brain. Something like that with Bryce Harper marching down to third base and
furious.
and yelling
Furious.
and like that's something that like you look like a tough guy.
Well,
Yeah.
what's even worse about that is fucking Angel Hernandez.
Angel
It's terrible.
How
Hernandez.
long does this
That
guy
was
get
insane.
to keep?
I'm sorry.
how long does
I
this
thought I
guy
had to see
get
it.
How long does this guy get to keep his job?
That's what I mean, man.
It's so bad.
He is so bad, and it's just game after game after game. And if I'm sure the major league, the players themselves and the managers, I'm sure they see him on their fucking schedule, and they're like, "Oh fuck, man, you better just swing at everything."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If he's behind home plate, or at third base, he's coaching third base. Which, guys, what, you got to call a foul or a fair ball?
Right.
But he
Right.
can still manage to fuck that up too. And I don't know if this has got to do with his lawsuit against Major League Baseball as to why he's still there.
Right.
And it just, I mean, anybody else does a shitty a job as Angel Hernandez, you're losing your job.
Yeah,
fellas.
You are not employed anymore.
That's
You're
right.
You're not employed. Or you're
just-
doing a job that you're capable of. If you work at a company that was nice enough to go like, okay, listen, dude, you're not cutting it here. We gotta take a step back. But not umpires, but not these, right? Like, dude, if you were that bad at your job, whatever
anything.
it's hard. There's tons of hard jobs. There's a lot of really hard jobs out there in the world. You were this bad at your job, you'd be fired.
Yeah. It's absolutely
right. Like it's too many times. It's night in and night out. It seems like guys that like Angel Hernandez fucks up like every single night. It's always him. It's always him.
And even when they try to bury him down the third base line because they don't trust him to call balls and strikes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
That's what he does. What he did to Bryce Harper is the
Yeah.
equivalent of a traffic cop standing in the middle of an intersection, waving people through, and a 9-car pileup occurs under his watch because he's given 2 people the fucking go, go, go. That's what he
Yeah.
fucking did.
Well,
And that cop would cease to be a fucking cop, man. But
you know
this
what it
guy,
does is it costs 2 guys, the Phillies manager, and
yeah,
it costs Bryce Harper a game.
well,
right?
and money, they're going to get fined.
Oh yeah, Bryce Harper's gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, and for what? For that fucking call?
And you get it, like a guy like Bryce Harper's story and everything about Bryce Harper is just like so interesting. He's like polarizing, right? Like that's how I think of him anyway. Like Bryce Harper is a guy that, like, because he was a phenom, right, coming out,
Right.
and him and Mike Trout jumped in the league at the
Yeah.
same time. Mike Trout's had a phenomenal career. We've, that's
But
well documented
can
on this
we
podcast.
just-
But like a guy like Bryce Harper, he hasn't had like the he's had incredible success. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to word it in a way that, like, Mike Trout, it's just like it's batting average, home runs, and all the stuff that if there wasn't a Mike Trout, maybe is what I'm trying to say. If there wasn't a Mike Trout, Bryce Harper would be Mike Trout. I don't know.
Well, and let's just start here, okay? Like it or not, you don't have to be a Bryce Harper fan. I don't know why you wouldn't. If you like baseball, I don't know how you could not like this guy unless your favorite team was a rival of his team. But Bryce Harper is just a likable baseball player. And let's just put all that aside, whether you like him or dislike him, doesn't matter. He is a superstar in the major leagues. By anybody's metric, he is a superstar. And being that he's a superstar, it's just like some of the superstars in the NBA. They're going to get calls that not other athletes do.
Yeah,
You
Bryce
cannot
Harper.
call Bryce. You cannot call Bryce
I get
Harper
what
out
you're
on that
saying.
check.
I get
Who
what you're
the
saying,
fuck is Angel Hernandez, man?
Yeah, Bryce
Well,
Harper's one of the
and
biggest
here's the
stars.
thing.
Like, baseball's good when Bryce Harper's good.
You know what,
That's
Ty, you hit on it. You hit on it perfect and polarizing. You know that the perfect word for Bryce Harper, because there are people out there that think that he's arrogant, cocky, whatever.
Yeah, which
He's
rightfully so. Rightfully so.
maybe, but he is 110%
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Every night, night in, night out.
I think
Close
Bryce
to
Harper.
play.
I think Bryce Harper is a guy that baseball guys, like, if somebody would be like, oh yeah, he's a baseball guy. I think baseball guys like Bryce Harper, but I think, but I think the arrogant and cocky thing, people who aren't real baseball like followers, probably look at him and go like, oh, that guy's kind of a jackass.
Yeah,
But
But it's hard
you
for me
watch
to
him
imagine.
play. You watch him playing a guy like that
That's what I'm
who's
saying.
the adversity that he's overcome. All the pressure in the world was on Bryce Harper to be great,
And he is.
and
he is.
He's more than
He
lived
is
up to it.
great,
I
man.
think.
And,
I think
and I'll
he's
tell
more
you
than
something.
lived up to that hype.
Like, I have watched Bryce Harper chew several of his teammates' ass for not running out a fucking grounder, man. This is not a head coach. This is a fucking player saying, "What are you doing, man? Fucking hustle down the first baseline, dude." People that sit there and say that they don't like Bryce Harper or they don't know, I can't stand that guy. You don't know what you're talking about, man. Like that's just coming from an uneducated viewpoint, because if you know anything about baseball, if you follow baseball, Bryce Harper is a blue collar dude, man.
I agree. But see,
he looked like a
there's-
WWE wrestler going out there at Angel Hernandez. I just watched
Oh,
it again. He looks
There's
crazy.
the difference, but there's the difference between him and Trout.
Oh, there is.
Yes.
There is.
Mike Trout is beloved by everybody.
By everybody.
Oh, but there's a difference, and that's why I say polarizing was a perfect word, Tyler, because you look at Mike Trout and he's America's golden boy, right?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
that smile
Yeah.
and hey, Mike Trout goes 110% too.
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
They just do it in
And
such
the
a
thing
different
is-
way.
In such a different way. But and there comes the injury history with Mike Trout, right? It's
Right.
usually because he's hustling.
Yeah,
And
Bryce Harper
Harper's
too.
the same way. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bryce Harper
yes, yeah.
the
They're
same way. And these guys, they don't realize how big these men are. These are
Oh,
big
Bryce
guys.
Bryce Harper's a unit.
Right. And the thing is that when they're going that hard at that size, you know, how much can a body take? They're out there diving at 220 pounds and
Yeah,
running
well,
and
Bryce
sliding.
Harper, right? And Bryce Harper swings as hard as anybody in the league. Like he's done that for his whole life. He
well,
swings as hard as anybody in the world, probably. And Mike Trout, his like short, compact swings very hard though
Oh, God.
for that distance that he covers, swings very hard. So you see these guys, and you're like,
well,
yeah, he hit a
know what?
490-foot home run. Did you see how he swung?
Oh yeah. But if I had to, like, you're right, Jim. There's a huge difference. The big difference, like if I just someone had to ask me, what's the difference between these two guys? Both are ultra talented. I just feel like Bryce Harper is a loud character, and I don't mean loud like, which that's some of it. You know, when he wins, he's all emotion. When he gets tossed on the biggest bullshit check swing I've ever seen, he's loud, man. He's in your face. When a teammate doesn't run it out, I just feel like Trout is more to himself. He's more quiet. He just goes to the park. He does his job. He goes.
They lead in completely different ways.
Bryce Harper is loud in his attire. You know, he wears the high stirrups. I think that's kind of to honor yesteryear's baseball players. That's, you know, you're talking about yesteryear. He's an old school baseball player.
Yeah.
I just think everything about Bryce Harper is loud. Like he's going to celebrate. He's going to flip his bat. He's going to show emotion. And Mike Trout just puts his head down and runs the bases. Yeah. And because of that, you know, especially this older generation of baseball enthusiasts, they more appreciate the Mike Trout. Just go to the park and do your job. Don't show emotion. Don't flip your bat. Don't get in anybody's face. Don't scream and holler. Don't yell. Don't chew on another. You know, I love it, man, because like you said, Jim, the number one reason Bryce Harper is 100%, 100% of the time, man. 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Nobody can fault him for that.
I just,
that's even
guys, hey, do you guys
Angel Hernandez's shit?
Yeah.
Do you guys like the London games? Do you guys like the NFL games when they are in London? Dude, that's too early for me. It is.
It is. Like, yeah, Jaguars are breaking it off in Atlanta right now.
And it's like being so like enthralled with the NFL. It's crazy that like I'm like, oh, this game's too early. Yeah. I would rather watch early games, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? But like I feel I'm like,
who is it?
Oh, 6:30 start. Dude, how spoiled are we for NFL or just football games in general, right?
But and who is it today? It's the Jags and who?
And the Falcons.
Atlanta.
Yep. And Jacksonville was up 17-0 or something.
Yeah, unless you're one of them two teams fans, which I honestly don't know anybody that is.
Right.
Are you really getting up early to watch the Falcons and the Jags?
Jacksonville or Atlanta? Yeah.
No,
I guess
I'll get up early to watch the Ryder Cup.
Yeah. What? How big of an ass kicking is that going to be when the Jets go see the Chiefs today?
Oh God.
Good. That's good.
Dude, the Jets defense is good. I don't know that it's going to be an absolute. The score might.
They're going to be on the field. They are good, but they're going to be on the field like 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think the score will be closer than the game feels.
I don't.
You know what I mean? I think the Chiefs are going to run away with it, and they're just going to.
Yeah,
but
dude, I see like a 28-6, a 28-10. I think it's just you know.
Yeah.
And if the score is somewhat close, it's because the Chiefs pull their
that's what I meant. That's right. Within like 2 touchdowns.
And it's going to be because the Chiefs pull their starters in the fourth quarter. I mean, I think they're going to get rolled today. They're going to get.
The thing is that Kansas City's defense might be one of the most underrated Ds.
I agree.
They're
I
not
agree with
bad
that.
at all. They're pretty goddamn good. I mean, you get the offense, obviously, you're going to talk about the Chiefs offense and their superstars and stuff, but their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, they got it. Matter of fact, there's been some dissension about the Chiefs offense needs work and their defense is a sure thing. So I think if they can, and of course there's been a lot of stress. Well, Chiefs are missing Tyreek Hill, whether that's true or not. I don't think they miss him now with Kelsey being back. But I think when Kelsey, before Kelsey came back, they were kind of lacking some weapons. They had a receiver that had dropped 6 balls or something in that opening game. But I don't think there's any of that with their defense. I think their defense is, it's a staple, man. They're going to show up and you're right, Ty. Jets do have a great defense, but man, asking your defense to go and play 48 minutes of a 60-minute ball game.
Yeah. That's I mean, I think like there's going to be times when the game looks competitive just because the Jets, if nothing else, they can slow the Chiefs down. I'm not saying they're going to stop them by any means,
They're going to have to.
they can.
But see, they can't even run the ball.
But when the Jets don't have an offense, you're like, what do the Chiefs have to worry about? You know what
Nothing.
I mean? Like,
Nothing. I mean,
if the other team doesn't
and
score,
they
they don't
even
have to
have
worry about much.
But they don't even have a running game because their offensive line is so freaking hard. So I mean, if you had a little running game, at least you could, just run it down their throat and take time off the clock.
Have we talked about it on here before? DJ or a band at a wedding?
Who?
What?
Having a DJ or a band at a wedding? Have we talked about that on here?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
What do you guys think? Both are fun. Both are fun. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I like DJs, and only because you can request or play the music maybe you want, and it's not some cover band that that you do want to hear that song. You just don't want to have
play Billy Joel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Stranger.
Well, wait a second though. Wait a second. Typically, I would agree with Jim, and probably 98% of the time that's going to ring true. DJ, man, it's just a matter of shuffling what you want to play, and they can play anything. But I feel like and there are these bands out there, there are these bands that are just 80s bands that literally play like that 80s music, 80s R&B, 80s rock. I mean, they're good at it, and I feel like if it's an 80s band, man, I'll take an 80s band because one thing I know about weddings, parties, backyard barbecues, chicks dig the 80s, man. Chicks, I'm just going to leave it right there. Chicks dig the 80s, man. If it's an 80s band and if it's an 80s band and you're a single fellow, dude.
Well, I mean, look at you go to a sporting event.
I get that because that sounds so fun. That
you
sounds
go to
to
a
me.
Sporting event. You go to a sporting event or anything, and guys, AC/DC or Def Leppard comes on. Watch everybody in the stands and watch them start moving.
Freaking Journey. How about Journey?
Pour Some Sugar on Me comes on and watch.
Jesus, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, chicks dig the 80s, man, and I feel like your odds increase by a factor of 10 if it's an 80s band. I really do.
But is that also because if you go to a place that's playing that kind of music, you're like, no, I already know the kind of people that are going to be here. I already know that these girls like that. That's why I'm here also.
I mean, well, okay, so that's
like
you know what I mean? Are you like, okay, well, this is part exactly.
Yeah, it's like what can't it's like a chicken or the egg. Which one? Yeah. Which one? Yeah. I mean, maybe a little bit of both. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like bands are super fun. Everything's fun, right? Like it's a good DJ. It sets the so something that I was like, I like to dance. I'll tell you guys that. Like I love a good wedding. Like I love to dance out there and stuff. And but we watching like seeing how the DJ operated to like, okay, they didn't like this song as much. Let me to the next song, you're like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, cool. This is
You
a
know
song
what,
I
though?
can dance to, And then like, yeah, just the way they have to navigate, like, okay, did they like this song? Do they want to keep going down this path? Or should I switch it up? Because nobody's dancing now.
You know what? Though,
That's
that
that's
path,
a lot of responsibility.
the longer the reception goes, that path changes.
Yes, it was
I
getting weird
mean,
by the end of it. By the end of it, we
alcohol,
were like,
yeah,
yeah,
You know,
alcohol.
there are those
that
songs.
path in a hurry.
yeah.
There are those songs though, man, that they come on and there's they're in the 80s, they're not even recent songs. They come on and you just know, oh shit, man, I got to get a partner.
Yeah.
I get
You can
apple
feel like you feel
talking
it.
like
I don't. You should have
apple
seen Trey
bottom
last night.
jeans.
Yes.
Apple bottom
'Cause-
jeans. I'm bringing sexy back. I mean, those
Yeah.
songs, man. Those songs come on, and it just, you
This
gotta.
is how we do it.
Oh yeah, that's another. Oh yeah,
Dude,
that's another good
watch,
one.
Yeah, watch
Yeah.
how everybody goes just insane. I was
Yeah,
like dragging my old lady out there. I'm like, come on, I look like an insane person out here by myself.
Plus, you're our dance coordinator for our band. You're gonna have us
Hey.
sashaying across the stage. So
Yeah, you seen this boy Boogie, then you'd get it.
I mean, I'm gonna be in my gold WWE wrestling
Right,
garments.
I know, looking like gold dust for whatever fucking reason.
Oh, it's a jumpsuit, man. It's easy to like. I can wear my pajamas underneath the shit. Nobody knows.
I'm
That's what
like,
saying.
oh, what do you want to look like as a WWE wrestler? I was thinking like I want to look like Stone Cold, probably just jean shorts, boots, and like some knee pads, and that's it, a cool vest. And you
But
went,
that's a whole. Dude, that's
and
a
you
whole,
you went, gold powder jumpsuit.
Wait, that's not really how that shit went down.
That's
And
pretty
also,
close. It's not that far off. It's not that far off.
Lee was wearing a banana suit. Fucking get him in there.
Well,
What
yeah.
kind of?
Oh
Listen,
yeah,
that's kind of gay. That's kind of gay. I'm
I
just
was
saying.
just gonna ask you, where
And
is
you're
he?
assless chaps. What the fuck are you laughing at? Jim, you had assless chaps. Wait, I'm sorry. We're not bringing up the assless chaps. I got a gold suit on. And you're busting on me. Like
and actually it wasn't even a suit, it was a romper.
my ass
If
was
I remember
covered.
right. You said gold romper.
No, I did not say romper. Those are not.
Oh,
No,
man.
I think I'm throwing the
I
replay
said a
flag on
jumpsuit
that.
so I can just throw that bitch on. Like
the
your
challenge
attire,
club.
that's a whole dude, that's a whole ordeal. That's like in front of the mirror, making sure shit's straight. And dude, I just pull on a jumper and be like, boom, let's do it. I mean, it was
would look good in one.
convenience.
Yeah,
Boom,
sure.
let's do it. Yeah.
You would look good in one.
Well, let's just pump the brakes on it. Like I don't plan to be in the WWE anytime soon, so that I'm fortunate for that.
I know.
Yeah.
How much does that suck? When did that realization hit you that like that boat has sailed? It sucks, right? We grew up all three. I like don't WWE like wrestling fans at some point in our life. At some point in our life,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Well,
and
dude,
you were like those guys were the coolest.
Yeah, but dude,
For some part of your life, you thought that.
Well, here's why. I'll sum it up really easy, man. It's not even anything that I didn't do right or that something I could have been better or smarter, any of that stuff. I think it's just general physics. We had a long time ago, I think I was maybe 10 years old, and we had I'm not even sure if it was like the really big it was a really big, I think at the time it was maybe Georgia Championship Wrestling. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's like Georgia Championship Wrestling, and you had like the Junkyard Dog, and it was these massive superstars, and you can watch wrestling on TV, and you can look at your television and be like, yeah, those guys are pretty big. But if you haven't seen these guys in real life, there's a little restaurant in our hometown called Country Kitchen. Some people have heard of it, some haven't. Just a little breakfast diner. And we went out to eat, and there was, and I can't remember their names. It's not important, but they weren't two of the bigger names in wrestling. They were a couple of the fill-ins. And they were sitting sitting at a booth, one on each side, and each guy damn near took up the whole bench seat. And I was so blown away with how big these dudes were. And they weren't even two of the bigger guys on the circuit. But I couldn't stop staring because I watch these guys on television all the time. That's how I grew up watching wrestling. And I had no idea they were this big, huge, ginormous dudes. And so those are just, run of the mill wrestlers that are fill-ins. So I can't imagine what some of the bigger guys look like. And I feel like to get into wrestling, you have, a lot of ex-football players get in because they're already athletes. They're big, they're strong, they've been working out. But I just feel like, man, to get into something like that, you you better be 6'4", 230.
Or you better be tougher, or you better be tougher than shit.
Yeah.
Or you better be like an entertainer. There's so much like it's entertainment.
Well,
Right?
but
But it's such a like a specific avenue of being like, I want to be an entertainer. I want to entertain people. Fuck, I mean, it's at some level that's what we have a podcast, like that's what we're doing, trying to do, is entertain people for however long our show is. And
right,
these
but
guys are like those
that-
guys went like, I want to entertain also, but as a wrestler, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I think you got to be pretty
A certain temperament, like there's not very many people can walk that line.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and it's like any other professional sport.
Well,
The percentages of guys that get into that business and are able to stay in the business, it's got to be minuscule.
But but then you also look at like people that have had like cameos in the WWE or WWF or whatever, like Mike Tyson, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Like he was like showcased for. They don't look like in the ring. It's different with somebody that they bring in like that than the people that have actually made it their profession to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Or just any of those guys that like turned it into like, no, this is who I am. This is who I am.
Right.
And that's what makes it so, I don't know. I think it's cool. I still think it's cool. I don't watch it that often, but I still think it's fucking cool.
I don't either. But a lot of those guys, they get into that, and then they go into, they end up making movies. I mean, look what The Rock has done.
John Cena.
Oh, Jesus, man.
John Cena, dude, is like generational wealth, right? Like they just turned it into being something so much bigger than just being a pro wrestler.
Well,
like,
and look at The Rock makes
he's
most
the
money
biggest
out of anybody
in the world. Maybe
I saw like he was worth something like $800 million or something. I mean, just
I bet
an empire, an absolute empire.
Yeah,
he's built.
Yeah, Rocky Maivia,
one eyebrow.
Yeah, Rocky Maivia, you jabroni.
Jabroni, yeah.
What do you always say, candy ass? Is that what he always said to you, candy ass?
Yep.
No, I like when he told Triple H, "Why don't you shut up, bitch?" That was awesome. Why don't you shut up, bitch?
Hey, so something I'm finding real interesting, guys, and want your take on it real quick. The pennant races, man.
Oh, yes.
The teams, the Baltimores, of course the Rays, but we're kind of getting used to
the Marlins. How about the Marlins?
How about the Marlins? How about the Diamondbacks?
Yeah.
This seems to me to be a little bit more that this is heartbreaking for me, this subject. The Mariners just got eliminated with one game to go.
That's tough.
They had a tough stretch, man. Their last 10 games were against Texas and Houston, which are Texas and Texas. The Dallas team and the Houston team. 10 games.
The Dallas team
3-3-4. Yeah. They went 3-3-4.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's a bummer. It's just, but like to be a Mariners fan.
You just mentioned no Texas. There's another one that isn't there every year, So this year we're not seeing the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cards, the Giants. We're not seeing them, guys, and it's kind of refreshing to me. Man, I get to finally watch, because listen, here in Colorado, man, we don't get to watch the Marlins and stuff like that, and it's kind of cool to me to be able to, now I get to watch these teams, and I'm going to get to watch them throughout the playoffs, however long they last. So yeah, it's I think baseball Man, it's turning back into kind of a team game, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're just not
The
looking at that
speed,
one,
the
two
speed, and
score.
yeah, is
Right.
Well, the
like
stolen,
it's
you know,
starting to
stolen
really
bases.
play a factor.
Stolen
Yes.
bases are up, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a number of years that stolen bases have been going down every year. Like who steals bases, but stolen bases are up again, man. So I mean, there's now it's. I've always liked the squeeze play and you know the stolen base and the moving guys over. That's what makes it a chess match. You know, a
Mhm.
lot of people see a 1-0 ball game. We've talked about this, Jim. A 1-0 ball game, people say, oh, that's a boring game. Man, there are so many chess moves that go on in a 1-0 ball game.
Yes.
I think it's
And in
fascinating.
a 1-0 ball game, there's going to be some good defense that was
Oh,
played.
yeah.
Great pitching.
Timely
That's
hitting.
really
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody loves the 450-foot home run, including me.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
love
Yeah.
that. But man, there's nothing like a good 2-1 game. And
Oh,
you've got guys coming up in the bottom of the ninth with guys on
do you
and
pull your
stealing
starter or your
bases.
starter's dealing? Do you pull your starter or let him pitch,
Yeah.
man? I mean, it's
All part
There's
of it,
a lot-
right? Like that is the chess match.
yeah.
yeah, moving guys, getting the game in motion.
Yeah.
That's you're taught to do that all the way from the time you swing a bat, you know, and then you watch the major leagues and like, oh wow, you know, nobody steals bases, nobody bunts.
Jim, who do
Yeah.
you let's go around. Let's see, who do you think? Give me your AL pennant winner, your NL pennant winner, and who you think is going to eventually take it.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Baltimore
Yeah.
and
That's what I was
Dodgers.
thinking too.
Baltimore and the Dodgers.
And Dodgers, and who wins it?
Fuck, probably the Dodgers, but I'd
How
like to
about you,
see
Ty?
Baltimore. I'd like to see Baltimore.
That's crazy. That'd be crazy. That would be crazy if Baltimore did it. I mean, as well as they've played this whole season,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
pretty
they're good.
wild. Is
They're good.
pretty wild. Like
100 games.
it's not you play 162 games in a season, you're not a flash in the pan to win that. You know what I mean? Like you're not like, oops, this team won that many. Like I feel
Yeah.
like an NFL team, you know what I mean, that could make the playoffs with a losing record, maybe. Whatever. Like in baseball, 162 games, you're gonna find out who the best teams are. Like just game in and game out. Like how much
Well,
one game,
and
how
you don't
much
win-
just
you
one
don't
game
win.
matters.
You're
You
going to
don't
find
win
out which
over
team is
100
playing the
games. You don't win over 100 games, and it's a fluke.
Right. Well, of
That's
course not. But
okay.
won
Yes,
over
that's
100
yes,
games.
that's
right,
what I'm
right,
saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying
right.
you win
But what
100
we've
games
seen-
and you're not like, oh, I
Right.
don't know, they're not. Is this team good or is this team not good? You're like, no, that team. 100 games is a lot.
Right, but
That's a
the
big
way
number.
I feel about the major leagues probably it's more tilted toward who's playing the best at the end of the season than any other sport. So
Yeah,
you're right, 100 games is not a fluke, but we've seen time and time again. Matter of fact, we see it every year. We'll see it this year, we'll see it next year, we'll see it every single year. A team that was rolling the whole season and they get into a slump. The hitters get into a slump and they get eliminated right away. Now, that's not to say that's going to happen, but I really feel when you said the best teams are going to find out who the best teams. Well, I don't know that that's true, Ty. What I think is we're going to find out who's playing the best.
yeah, I see
Because
that.
we've seen teams get in with 88 wins and run the table, man.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Because
and a team that wins 100 plus games could go out. Yeah, in
immediately.
5 games. Go out in 5
and
games.
here's the whole thing about the playoffs is that a short series. You know, you hear
A
that all
short
the time.
series.
Yeah,
Right.
Short series. You got
Yeah.
2 stud pitchers.
playoff
And it's
baseball is
in
different,
bullpen.
right? Yeah,
It's different. You know,
But how many times have we
carry
how
you
many
through.
times but how many times Kershaw in his prime, not now, not the Kershaw now, but Kershaw in his prime, you know, Cy Young winner 2-3 years in a row, get into playoffs and give up 7 runs in the first 3 innings? That
Yeah.
happens. That has happened to Kershaw on more than one occasion where he has stunk it up, man. This is talking about God on a mound almost. And just so man, it happens.
Hey, I
Ty,
saw this thing. I saw this thing the other day that was crazy. That there was so there was a game 20-ish years ago that people pulled up to go see that was supposed to be Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux. That was the pitchers that were slated to go. Both of them get pulled out prior to the game. It ends up being Max Scherzer as a rookie versus Clayton Kershaw as a rookie.
Oh wow,
Man.
How lucky would you'd be like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like I went to go see Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux pitch as a game like that. What a duel.
oh man,
And then you're like, they both, not one, both of them get scratched prior to the game. And you can now looking back go, yeah, I saw Max Scherzer go against
legends,
Clayton Kershaw.
legends.
Yeah,
legend.
Hall of
Crazy,
Famers.
right? Like that's just one of the, and baseball's so wild, dude. Baseball, it seems like there's between how many games there's been played of all time and on all levels of little leagues and high school and college and pros, that new stuff keeps happening. How?
Right. Right when you think
You're like, that's
oh,
never okay, that never happened before.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, nobody's ever going to break Cal Ripken's record. Nobody
No.
is. Was that 13 years? Was it 13 years without missing a game?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, and the game's different now too. I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
there are no, I don't think anyway, there are no Iron Men left. And
No.
you got end of season. Okay, this guy's making 300 million. You're out of the playoff race. Is he going to play anymore? Or you're in the playoff race and you've already clinched a spot and really can't go anywhere. Are your guys playing? You know?
So Ty, who do you think is going to be American League, National League champion?
The Baltimore thing is super interesting to me. I don't know, man. The AL West. Houston,
No, just
I know. I'm just saying that like the AL West has been such a dogfight coming down to it, and you're right. Like who plays the best baseball through this stretch? And it seems like Houston and Texas are already in playoff mode, where I think a team like maybe Baltimore has been like, no, they've been the 1 seed for how long? Like you know what I mean? Like they're gonna be get a bye. So I don't know, man. The Rangers are dangerous. I think the Rangers are dangerous.
That's my pick.
And then Houston though, and Houston's still in it. Houston's that team that like
that lineup in Texas.
Houston is star studded.
But here we go back to the short series again. Houston's pitching is
yeah.
In
and they got a great bullpen.
And they have a bunch of dudes, and they have a bunch of dudes that can hit home runs.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about home runs? Texas has got a deep lineup, man.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
Texas bullpen is not good.
No, they're not. But
I mean, that's where I think that maybe I say watch out for Houston. I say watch out for Houston.
You know who I forgot about? I'm changing. The Braves.
No, okay. I was not even into the NL yet. Yeah,
that was
Houston.
That's my NL
and then
pick.
it's going to be the Braves and the Dodgers. Whoever wins that one is probably going to win the World Series.
I got the Braves. I think it's going to be the Braves. Reason why I didn't pick Baltimore, I was tempted to, but I just live under the belief that Baltimore. This is going to be the first. They didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
Hell no.
Yeah, so I just believe that, especially in the major leagues, maybe not so much other sports, but in the major leagues, I just feel like you kind of have to bide your time. They literally have nobody on the roster with playoff experience. So I just feel like they're going to get in. They might win a game or two, but I just feel like the nerves, the lights are going to come on. And I could be wrong, could be way off base, but I think, they're going to get a taste of playoff baseball. And next year, the next few years, Baltimore is going to be really dangerous. So I think it's going to be Texas, Atlanta. And I think that series is going to go at least 6, maybe 7. I see Atlanta winning it.
Man, yeah. If Atlanta starts winning now, should look out in the future. I mean,
you want to talk about a lineup. You want to talk about a lineup.
Yeah. Talk about guys hitting home runs.
Yeah.
Atlanta's sick. Didn't they just break the record for the all-time record for home runs in a season or something?
They did. They
Oh,
did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I got to I have to let these people eat their breakfast.
Okay.
Okay.
Um so what do you say? Let's do maybe some curtain calls. Try and
Sure.
get some weird looks in here.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys got anything?
I do. I've got one. Like I said, went to the Air Force game again yesterday. My boys are 5-0, looking pretty good. Looking at maybe a ranking this week, for
Wow.
Air
That'd be
Force. But
awesome.
my curtain call goes to the parking lot attendants at the Air Force games. Man, you guys have all dealt with parking lot attendants, and so many of them are such a pain in the ass and rude, and pretty much go fuck yourself and go find somewhere to park. Not at Air Force games, man. They pull you right into your spot, tell you to stop when you're backing in because they park you too deep. So sometimes you have to back in so you can get your grill out and you have your pathway and everything. Anyway, so these guys, I mean, they'll back you right in, right to the white line, and they're friendly as shit, and quite frankly, I mean, it's not above me to slide them a little, and this is on the down low, of course, slide them a little Irish coffee in the morning, or whatever when we show up. But man, they're awesome. They're friendly. So my curtain call, my shout out goes to the parking lot attendants at Falcon Field.
Nice.
That's awesome. That
Nice.
sounds super
Well done.
cool.
Well done. I'm going to give a curtain call up to Mr. Dan Campbell, head coach of the Detroit Lions, man. I saw a stat that I couldn't hardly believe before he got there. The previous 15 games, Detroit Lions were 4-11. He got there in the last 15 games that he's been the head coach. They're now 11-4, dating back to last season. He's got Detroit they're finally looking. I don't think teams want to play Detroit, man. They're looking good. Dan Campbell, you want to talk about an old school coach, reminds me a lot of Bill Cowher, man. Just that chin and just that fierceness on the sidelines. Good to see, man. Dan Campbell makes the NFL better. I'm glad he's successful. I wish him the best, and he's got that team in the right direction. So well done, Dan.
Did you see? Have you seen the thing about Dan Campbell, his coffee order in the morning? Dude, he ingests something like 1,100 milligrams of caffeine. He gets like two. Dude, just check this out. Check it out when you got a second. Dan Campbell's coffee order. I'm sure you could just Google it.
That can't be good for you, right? I mean, there's no way that.
I don't think it would be good for somebody like me. But
Well,
he's a big man.
dude. He's a big man.
Yeah, but that's like, that would make somebody sick, right? Like that would make most people
Me sick.
It makes most people that don't have
Well,
caffeine daily.
He just needs to keep his ass out of Montana because I'm pretty sure my girlfriend's got a crush on him. So just stay the fuck out.
I got a crush on the dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's don't ask, don't tell. That's all I'm saying, man. Don't ask. Don't
my
tell.
goodness.
Yeah.
My curtain call goes out to Lee. We're all wishing you the best here.
Right.
You're in our thoughts and our prayers. Anybody that watched this, say a prayer for Lee. He's going through it right now. So hopefully he'll be back soon. We don't know.
Wait,
We don't
did he
know
get
if
his
he'll ever
ears?
come back.
I thought. Okay, so I'm confused. I thought he just got his ears nipped and tucked. Did he not? Or
It was an ear. I heard rear.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it.
I heard he got his
it
rear
could be
nipped
rear.
and tucked.
Wait. It
I
could
heard he
be
got his
rear.
rear nipped and tucked.
I could be wrong, but
Ear makes
it's
more
one of
sense.
them. Either way, just say your prayers for him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Good episode, and we'll see you next week. We're on everything, right? Spotify, Instagram.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys.